Good morning. It's great to welcome so many of you here to our event today. I'm Mark Edwardson, formerly a reporter and producer for BBC Midlands Today, and I'll be your host for the next hour and a half. Now, in the audience, there are well over 120 people. It's way more than we could ever dreamt of. Thank you for joining us today. Many of you, of course, are from Worcestershire, which is brilliant, but you've also got company from the Bipc elsewhere in the country, and of course, the British Library. Now, we're here to launch the Worcestershire Business and IP Centre. This morning, you'll be hearing from businesses who've already benefited. You'll find out what's in this for your company and how you can access this amazing range of services. So the first thing I'd like to do this morning is hand you over to Janine Downs, who leads the service in Worcestershire. Janine, I should say, is going to introduce the BIPC and tell you what you can expect from this morning. Janine.
Thank you, Mark. And thank you again to all of you for joining us today to find out more about BIPC Worcestershire and to mark this our virtual launch. We'd love to be in physical spaces, but we're keeping it virtual for now. And I know we have lots of partners and colleagues in the audience. So Enterprising Worcestershire, the British Library, the IPO. Welcome to all of you. But importantly, there are lots of local businesses joining us, and you are the people who will benefit the most from this service going forward. So we're really thrilled that you've come to join us today to find out more about the service. And we're excited to tell you about this service and to introduce you to the team, and you'll meet them later on. You'll also get to hear from some of our customers and partners and understand where we sit in the wider business support network locally. We can't wait to tell you more about our services. They are free. We offer business startup support and signposting, masterclasses provided by local experts and entrepreneurs showing off their skills. We also can help you with how you can research the markets for your business. And also, we are located in libraries. We're a friendly, welcoming team located in all of Worcestershire's libraries. So I think it's going to be a great morning, Mark.
Yes, I'm sure it is, Janine. And thank you very much for that introduction as well. It really is what you call a comprehensive range of services for businesses in Worcestershire. And all, of course, accessible and available through the friendly teams at the county's libraries. So let's start by looking at what BIPC in Worcestershire is all about. For the first of our short films this morning, we spoke to the CEO of one of the county's biggest employers, and it's a global brand as well, and a politician who's got a very close eye on the national economic picture. We asked them, what can BIPC do for local businesses? And this is what they told us.
The support services that you can get access to through BIPC are really helpful to many startup companies or indeed existing companies really starting to evolve their business. So it can make a big difference because you're getting experienced business people providing that mentoring and that advice and guidance to you in your business journey, whether you're really at the beginning of it or looking where do you go next in terms of your business journey. The services you can get are really valuable. So some of the support services you can get through BIPC are really, really good. The low-cost business support and particularly the mentoring and training services that you can obtain is really excellent. And then free access to market intelligence and customer insights. And then particularly the guidance and advice you can get in terms of intellectual property and how you can protect yourself as a business developing that IP.
Hello, I'm Liz Jolly, Chief Librarian at the British Library, and I'm proud and honoured to be here today to speak on behalf of the British Library at the launch of the Worcestershire-wide BIPC programme. The new centre and local centres will be part of the BIPC network, a partnership between the British Library and regional and local public libraries across the country, designed to support entrepreneurs to start, protect and grow their businesses. Our work in helping to support local entrepreneurs to start new businesses and create new jobs is more important than ever before. As we start opening up the country again, This will be even more vital in supporting the wider local and national economic recovery. We have seen how BIPCs based in local libraries have supported local economies in the past. An independent evaluation over a 3-year period to 2019 showed that the national network provided business advice and support for nearly 43,000 people, supported the creation of over 12,000 new businesses and nearly 8,000 jobs. In a testament to the power of libraries to reach communities across the country, over half these new businesses were owned by women and just under a third were owned by entrepreneurs from a Black, Asian or minority ethnic background, both significantly greater proportions than in the business population across the UK more generally. This is why we were especially delighted when in the budget in 2020 we secured a further £13 million to grow and expand the network to even more local libraries across the country, the future of which we are seeing today with the opening of BIPCs in the Hive in Worcester and in 5 towns spread across the county: Bromsgrove, Evesham, Kidderminster, Malvern and Redditch.
So, we're seeing an economy recovering from lockdown. More and more businesses looking for support to help them survive and grow, and more people than ever before looking to start their own businesses. Now that means the scene is set for Worcestershire BIPC to play an important role in the business landscape and support pipeline. Now, we're conscious this is your chance to find out more about Worcestershire BIPC. So there will be a couple of good opportunities to quiz our panel in a little while, and you will be introduced to them eventually, I promise you that. But first, let's meet the dedicated team who are building and supporting a thriving business community in the county's libraries.
BIPC will have a really great range of services. Initially, having a conversation with one of our advisors, helping you to find the right path through your startup journey. Alongside that will be access to a range of databases and resources, market research, which will help you to really understand where and how to position your business and how to take it forwards.
So one of the main benefits of the Business and Intellectual Property Centre is it's part of Worcestershire Libraries, and it can offer support in a community setting, and it's therefore a lot easier for people just to pop into their local library for information and resources without the need to travel too far. Now I know that sometimes it can be a little bit daunting trying to find information and support, especially when your business is just starting out.
So there's a really wide range of services that you can access via BIPC Worcestershire. You can have an initial advice conversation with one of our advisors who will point you in the right direction, help you get on the right path for your business and signpost out to our other partners. There's also a range of webinars led by local business experts. They can be on a range of topics which might include protecting your intellectual property, also marketing, finance, cash flow, but really drawing on that local expertise that we know we have in Worcestershire.
We have a very large range of databases to cater for all sorts of businesses who might be at different stages of business development. They cost thousands of pounds to access if you were going to do that independently yourself, but we can offer those free of charge. So you don't need to pay a penny. You can have expert input into your business, and we will refer you through to others who are experts in their area as well. The BIPC is different to other services because we offer access to intellectual property guidance. We offer free one-to-ones. We have an extensive range of business databases which cost many thousands of pounds to access individually, but actually you can access those free of charge in the library network. Which brings me to the other point, that we are in the local community, in the library network, so everyone can access us, again, free of charge at any time that the libraries are open, and sometimes remotely as well if you're looking at using our databases.
The BIPC is a gateway for entrepreneurs and businesses within Worcestershire who are looking to start up a business or require business support. The BIPC can respond to businesses' individual needs and have a great network of partners who can also help along the way. The BIPC service is very easy to access. You can go into one of our libraries, approach a member of staff who will signpost you to the right area, or you can give us a call, or alternatively you can visit our website.
So you've seen just how easy it is to access the BIPC service in Worcester, that it's available for free in libraries throughout the county. And you've also seen the passion the team shows to support businesses who ask for help. Now, let's hear from the BIPC's customers, the entrepreneurs who've looked for support from the BIPC service and whose business journeys are accelerating thanks to the help that they've received. We're going to hear now from two inspirational women, one who's swapped a successful career in marketing to follow her culinary dream, and another whose business is thriving after she gave up the corporate slog to launch her own company. Now she uses her skills and experience to support busy executives. Here are the stories.
Bipc has been in touch with me after the International Women's Day when I was on their panel. They have been most helpful to me because as a startup, yes, I do need that help. I'm a solo business, I run it myself, and their website is full of resources.
I decided to start my own business following a career break from corporate life to be a stay-at-home mum for a couple of years, and decided that when my son started school, it was a great opportunity for me to do something that I love and help small businesses.
As a small startup, as a business which is just starting, I don't think I would want to invest a lot of money in marketing collaterals. So for me, having a free resource like BIPC available to me to help me design a website it's a huge thing. Same goes for the IP rights. Having a logo and protecting it is very important. This I learned from Bipc. So I have used their resources online to see how I can protect my logo and my brand. So there is an immense amount of material on their website. So I would suggest to every young business to please go and have a look at this.
I can handle business admin, from email management to customer service through to projects and helping organisations grow. Not everybody has the luxury of being able to employ large amounts of staff or people in specialist areas, whereas with myself I can provide the support as and when you need it, taking on the tasks that you don't have the time to do, or simply don't have the skills or expertise to do, or really don't want to do. Bipc has helped me from being less than a business to launching my business to growing and evolving, and I feel like as the team at Bipc grows, so do I. It's just like being part of a family, and I really look forward to being part of the evolution with the team.
As a small business, it's very important that you find the right teams and resources helping you every step of the way without you having to spend a lot of money, because investments for a smaller business are not a very easy thing to do. And Bipc is always around the corner to assist you, to send you emails, to send you links. And if you can make use of their resources, you can do away with a lot of agencies that you would probably outsource to launch your business.
So, interesting points there. Now we're going to hear how the Bipc service can help entrepreneurs and existing businesses with really pressing issues. Protecting a business's intellectual property or IP can make or break a company. So businesses in Worcestershire have a choice. They can commission expensive legal services to trademark or patent, or they can visit the Bipc for free. Yeah, that's right, for free. If you need market intelligence or business data, sure, you can go and buy it. Plenty of people will supply it to you. Or you can visit Bipc and get specialist support and data all for free. Now, we talked to a Dragon's Den success story and a motivational specialist about how BIPC helped their businesses save them money and became part of their lives.
Hi, I'm Pete from Bipc. Some of you might recognise me from my appearance in Dragon's Den. But long before I stood in front of those 5 rather scary investors, my business journey started with something called the Business and IP Centre. They were able to provide me with advice and support that built my confidence up, that I could stand in that rather threatening environment and pitch, confident in the knowledge that my brands were protected and I knew what I was talking about.
So my partnership, I guess now, with the BIPC has grown hugely. So when I first went for that initial meeting, it was just for trademark and intellectual property advice. And since then, I've referred lots of people to the BIPC, so people who wouldn't necessarily have access to that intellectual property advice and trademark advice and all of that sort of copyright advice that has been so incredible with the BIPC. And just a fantastic resource for startups and for more established businesses as well that might get questions about that come up throughout their business journey, and then also becoming a partner with the BIPC. So I am delivering programs and webinars moving forward with them, so I'm so excited to be partnering with BIPC.
Having created my products and businesses, I needed names for them. What do I call a product that has a lid on it and a ramp and a cat sits on it and it flips up? It needs a name. Do I call it the kitty feeder? Do I call it the step and eat? What do I call it? And the name Pedal Dish kept coming back as a name. But how do I make my product exclusively Pedal Dish? I knew I needed some form of protection. I later understood that this was a trademark. And the Business and IP Centre were able to advise me not only on trademarking Pedal Dish, but also my business, Bipc. The first 3 letters of my name of Pete, and Invictus, the idea that I'm in charge of my business destiny. And then finally, of course, cat phone. How can I protect something called cat phone? Can it be done? Well, it can. The Business and IP Centre were able to show me that I could turn a whistle and protect it by the name cat phone. Having had the products that now worked, I had the names that were now protected.
So I've really enjoyed my time working with the BIPC, and also I'm so excited to continue this collaboration with the BIPC and referring other people to this resource as well, because I think it's a resource that all businesses should be utilising. And a huge thank you to all of the people at BIPC and from myself and all of the businesses that they've supported.
So, if you're a new startup or an established business, the BIPC can help you. Also, as part of the help this morning, we've planned some time now for the Worcestershire BIPC team to answer some of your questions. We'll be having another Q&A session at the end of the event, and don't forget, you'll be able to stay around in our breakout events at the end of this launch. Now, each event will include one of the BIPC team to answer your questions. But for the time being, Janine, Joe and I will now talk over some of the issues that you've already raised this morning, and thank you for doing so as well. So let's talk to Janine first. Janine, what are the burning issues this morning?
So one of the things that Pete from Bipc mentioned was the importance of protecting intellectual property. And I just think that's one of the key things that we do, which is unique in Worcestershire. Joe, you're probably the expert on this. Do you want to talk a little bit more about what the BIPC can do to support businesses to protect their IP?
Sure, thank you, Janine. I mean, I think, as you point out, it's about that early stage support. A lot of small businesses don't realise how important it is to protect their IP from the get-go. They think it's for a bigger business or something you do further on down the line. But actually, you're most creative probably when you're starting your business. And so you need to think very carefully about your assets and how, as we've learned, how you protect them. We work with the Intellectual Property Office, and we work with specialists like lawyers like Wyn Jones, who are specialists in IP law, and we offer free services that support you to do that. So it's a really, really accessible service for you, and we guide you along the way, and then we hand you over to experts who are able to give you that really important advice.
Janine, I'm just wondering, there are lots of people involved in the concept of the BIPC, not least of which, of course, the British Library. And, the BIPC services in Worcestershire, like those elsewhere in the country, are being provided in libraries. Free access to libraries, free access to information. I mean, that's your USP, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the fact that we're located in libraries is one of the things that makes us feel like a real kind of community, like a family. I think Rachel from Done Virtually mentioned that feeling of being part of the BIPC family, and that's definitely something that we are looking to achieve. It's a community. It's based in your local library. We're also opening BIPCs across the county. So that will be in Evesham, Redditch, Kidderminster, Malvern, Bromsgrove, and at the Hive in Worcester. Hoping to hold physical launches and have small parties in those spaces at some point later on this year, rather than just being virtual. But that really local connection to local businesses is significant, and that's why the BIPC works. And it's been shown to work. Businesses are stronger who start through libraries and through BIPCs. The fact that we're in a library means that we're very non-threatening, I hope, and that we are jargon free. We use kind of simple language, and you don't need to be business ready when you come to us. You don't need to even know for sure that you want to start a business. I think it's enough to have the seed of an idea, and our team can kind of help you along the way with the steps that you need to take to build it into a business.
See, that's interesting to me. You're offering a service to people who don't even know whether they definitely want to be business people. I guess that's another important part of this, isn't it? You don't have to join a business organization. You don't have to pay the subs and the fees and so on and so forth, and go to the annual dinner and be friended with the great and the good of those organizations. You might just have a little spark of an idea in your head, but you might want somebody else to just take a little look at it and let you know what you can do with it. That's all part of this, isn't it?
Yeah, and we're very much about hand-holding and taking people to the next steps. But also that hand-holding doesn't end with that early stage. I think it's important to think about someone like Jenna, who went on the journey from being a startup and getting advice from the BIPC to becoming someone who actually provided that support for other colleagues. So yeah, I think that's part of what being in this community is about. It's about giving back at the right time and being part of a network of supportive businesses.
And Joe, as we saw with our friend from Dragon's Den, he'd been in the fiercest, let's say, crucible of criticism as far as business startups are concerned. But he came to you guys, and that's where his real success started. And look at him now, he's flying.
Yes, Mark, he is. And I think that's the beauty really of the BIPC. And the fact that Pete has come back to us as well. And as Janine has said, he's there, he's offering support and help for our other newer members and giving them the confidence to go out there and make it happen. That's really inspirational stuff. And, we can run webinars and all that sort of stuff, which is what we do. But actually, it's those real people experiences and life, life experiences that they bring that is so valuable to our community.
I suppose one question at the moment that we should all consider still, regardless of how we think the vaccination program is going and how we're fighting COVID. I'm guessing the face-to-face meetings in the libraries will be COVID safe, won't they? You've obviously taken things like that into account.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're currently running all of our services online. So it's via Zoom at the moment, but we are looking to reintroduce face-to-face services. But libraries are completely safe spaces, and we socially distance. We've got plenty of perspex screens. So we're just risk assessing all of that and looking towards bringing face-to-face activity back into libraries.
Yeah, but above all, you want people to enjoy this interaction with you, don't you? This isn't a stuffy organisation, is it? You guys basically want people to have fun on their business journeys too, don't you?
Yeah, totally. I think it's part of what we do, which is unique. There is plenty of business support in the county, and we are partnering with Enterprising Worcestershire and working with Worcestershire Business Central, who have formal programmes and really fantastic business support and mentoring. I suppose what is slightly different about ours is that it's a little more hop on, hop off, and we are absolutely there to support people at any time of that journey along the way, but also to feed them back into the support that they need from the Growth Hub and from Enterprising Worcestershire. So we see this very much as a kind of wider business landscape, us forming an element of that, being face-to-face in libraries, being open to all, being very much accessible, and that's what we do, which is different.
Okay, well, Joe, Janine, thanks for joining us for the time being. We will, as I said, remember there's another Q&A session shortly, and you can contribute to that using the icon that's now available on your screen. So back to our short films, and we're going to look at how Worcestershire BIPC forms an important new part of the county's business support landscape, which Janine just referred to. It sometimes seems there are so many different agencies offering support to businesses. How on earth do you know where to start? Well, let's hear from one of BIPC's partners, a major player in the county's business support, about how the services fit and work together.
The Enterprising Worcestershire programme provides support to startups and early stage businesses in the county. If you have an idea for a business, we can support you to turn that idea into a reality by giving you all the expert support, advice, guidance and resources that you need. Once your business is up and running, we can also support you with business development as well as startup grants to give you all the financial assistance you need in those critical early phases. Our partnership with the University of Worcester also delivers our Enrich programme, which offers specialist startup support to young people aged 16 plus. Our new and exciting partnership with Worcestershire Libraries provides advice, guidance, signposting, as well as expert intellectual property support and workshops.
We work with people who are looking to start a business, right up to those high growth businesses who are looking to scale up. They have 250 employees. So we are able to support businesses throughout their entire journey.
Not only do Worcestershire Libraries give a perfect access point to Enterprising Worcestershire, they also provide that connectivity for startups to access the wider support available in the county.
We're excited to be working in partnership with the BIPC, referring clients in, and they refer clients out to us as well. We know that not only is the BIPC there to help support those people looking for that startup and that initial advice and guidance to get their business off the ground, but really importantly, and particularly for Worcestershire and our innovation networks, they can access some fantastic intellectual property advice and guidance, and that's really exciting for our county.
So we're moving on now to the final part of today's session, which is a Q&A. And I'd like to invite the team to join me so that we can take some questions from the floor. Joe, hello.
Hello.
I'm glad I've got a friend. I was going to have a look to see whether we had anything coming through the chat. Catherine, have you found anything in the chat which we could answer today?
Yes, there's actually been quite a few questions that have come through so far. So the first one is from Rosemary Henderson. And she asks, how can you add your company and services to BIPC Worcestershire? So I don't know, is Preeti want to answer that one?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. You can add your services. If you guys want to get involved and be a part of the BIPC, we welcome support from everybody, because we feel that because the BIPC is at the heart of the communities, So we welcome your ideas, and we're really looking to engage with other businesses. So if you guys want to be involved with the BIPC and maybe deliver some webinars, please feel free. We've got some really great webinars and events that are going on. For example, like the Business Book Club, which we run in partnership with Kinetic Communications. And we invite business professionals who come along and talk about the books that have inspired them and helped along their business journeys. So yeah, if there's anybody who wants to get involved, you know, come along, attend our events, put your name forward, or if you know someone who you would like to see on our panel as well, you know, give us their names, get in contact with us, and we'll be more than happy to put you guys in the panel. And even if you've had a business experience that you want to share, we've also got a peer-to-peer group, which we are working again with Kinetic Communication as well. So, you know, we look forward. Catherine, I think you know more about the peer-to-peer group as well. If you want to say something on that as well.
Yes, yeah. So we will be offering a peer-to-peer support group in the near future because we know that there are many barriers to starting a business. And one of the main ones, I think, really is people feeling alone or feeling a bit anxious. There's a lot of businesses which fail in the first few years. So people do tend to lack a bit of confidence. There is a bit of an illusion that entrepreneurs and business people need to be super confident in order to succeed. But in my experience, most of your confidence comes from just talking to other people and realizing that your problems actually are the same problems as everybody else's. So this is why we've really set up these peer-to-peer support groups. As I said, they are coming soon, and they're there really for businesses to support each other. So it's not a networking group in the traditional sense, but it's really about businesses and entrepreneurs just helping each other, problem solving and talking through issues in a safe, non-judgmental and confidential space.
I suppose, Rosemary, one of the things about the BIPC is you can be on the receiving end of services, but you can also be supporting delivery, which I think is what you're alluding to. So yeah, just make contact with us, take a look at the website and make an initial contact, and we'll get back to you and talk to you about that. So thanks for that. Should we move on to another question? Have you got any there, Catherine?
Yes, yeah. So Jamie Pratt has asked, is this service available from all Worcestershire libraries, or should we direct businesses to Worcester initially?
Jo, do you want to talk about that?
So, yeah,
Sure.
Jo.
Yeah, sure. No, I mean, you can access the service from all libraries, but we have the 6 main libraries where you can come in, and when we're allowed to, and you can actually meet with a business advisor, which would be Catherine or Preeti. So you can access it online at the moment, obviously, as well. But what I would say is we're not just Worcester based, we are county-wide, and you can get to see us in your local community, essentially, or be referred through from, if it's a particularly small library, they can make a referral through for you. So it's very easy to access, and it's designed to be easy and flexible and on your doorstep.
Okay, so we have another question from Tracy Jennifer. Would this BIPC assistance be open to an established national charity? So I'm not quite sure who would like to answer that one. Maybe Janine.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Yeah, we're open to all businesses. We have a focus on pre and early start businesses, SMEs, but there's no restriction around the type of business. So the resources that we have are completely open and available to everybody, as you would expect in a public library. So I think I mentioned earlier that we don't turn anyone away. We're very much around being an accessible service, and that includes making sure that we're targeting all sectors and also all demographics. So the BIPC, I think Liz Jolly mentioned from the British Library in her introduction, is very much around targeting women, people who are unemployed or disabled. So we very much stick to that ethos of a public library. So absolutely ask us a question and we'll help you along the way.
Okay, that's a good answer. So we've got a couple which are about, well, one that's about databases from Peter Daniel. What are the databases that are on offer? So I know a little bit about that, so I will talk about that one. So we've got plenty of databases. In fact, we subscribe to a plethora of different types. And these provide invaluable information on a range of subjects, such as starting and running a business, market research and market intelligence, emerging markets, retail premises and town centre information. We've got a database that can give you company financial information, funding options, business news. And if you're looking to try and find suppliers as well, or check British standards, then we can provide you with access to that information as well. And I really do urge anyone that needs business information, whether you're just starting out or perhaps you're looking to expand into new markets, to use these, because the information that you get from these databases is really valuable. It's also quite expensive as well, and in the past this was only accessible information for larger businesses because they were the only people that could afford to pay the subscriptions. All of our databases are free as well to use, and they can be accessed from the 6 main Worcestershire libraries. You don't need to book an appointment to come and use them. It's kind of self-service, so just come in, speak to a member of the library staff, and they can help you log in. If you do need a little bit more help, then you can book a one-to-one appointment with myself or Preeti, and we can just give you a little bit more kind of like guidance on how to use it.
Thanks for that.
So there is another one which is kind of linked, if I can just find it. It's actually from an anonymous attendee. If you're a startup, where can you look for funding? So we do have a database as well that can help you look for funding. So you can contact us and we can help you go through that, or you can actually just go on to the database yourself. It's called Open for Business. You can access it from home. So you just register, and it can show you all the different funding options, from grants, loans on a national, local and also regional basis as well. Okay, so going on to another question. Jamie Pratt has asked, is the BIPC open to all sectors and industries, or is there certain criteria? So Janine.
Yeah, again, similar to the charity question, I think. No restrictions, come and talk to us. Around the resources that we have, we can support any type of business. So there is no restriction around that at all. I hope that answers your question.
Hello,
Mark, welcome
hello
back.
Catherine, hello Joe, hello Preeti.
Oh.
Really sorry, we've had a little technical issue with my link to the feed today, but I am back now. So thank you very much for taking up the slack. I do appreciate it. There is one question I've been sent to ask any or all of you, actually, which is quite simply this. It's something that I think Janine touched on earlier, which is, you know, there are lots and lots of organizations offering business help and business advice and, you know, coaching and all manner of different things. Now, apologies if this is going over old ground a bit, because I have missed the last 2 or 3 minutes or so. But I guess the question, and this is asked by one of our contributors, is why do we need another one in BIPC?
Yeah, shall I take that?
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
So are you happy for me to do that? So yeah. I think really we see ourselves as a part of that landscape. We're not in competition with anybody. We're here to support the work that's already happening. We're partnering with Enterprising Worcestershire as part of their pre-start programme, and we're referring clients into them. And really it's about providing a wraparound service for SMEs and sole traders. So it's nothing that's standalone. We have our specialisms, so we have that market and company intelligence, which is so valuable to companies. We've got that IP guidance, which points people in the right direction to protect their assets, which is unique in Worcestershire. We are walk-in, you know, you can walk into a local library and get that advice, and free to access. but we will be signposting to those other services. So we're not sitting in a silo working alone. We're absolutely working in partnership with them and providing a kind of pipeline really for the services that already exist. Does that answer what you wanted to know, Mark?
Well, more or less, yeah, absolutely. Preeti, Joe, Catherine, you got anything to add to Janine's statement?
No, I think really, Mark, it is about it's very much about that partnership. It is that wraparound service. It's offering that support. We would never leave somebody hanging. We will always follow up to see how things have gone with our partners, whether they need additional support and help after that as well. So it's very much designed as a safety net for people to make them feel safe, make them feel secure, and link them in with those partnerships who can give that really specialist guidance and advice, which is what everybody needs at this particular early stage of their development.
BIPC do support as well people who do have learning difficulties, and recently, last Saturday, we had Nicola Whiting, who was she's autistic, but she's a great business entrepreneur, and how she scaled her business is businesses like this that bring inspiration to smaller entrepreneurs and those people who are looking to start up a business. The other thing I did want to add as well is that the BIPC, we understand the barriers of entering into the market, of setting up your own business, and the challenges that we have. One of my customers, one of the clients who I'm supporting, she's a mom of 3 who's busy, and yet we understand that your priority is your children. You're a mom, you're a dad before you are anything else when it comes to businesses and commitments. And not only that, we have this understanding, and I want to say this, that the BIPC don't just deliver stuff that comes from books and theories. We actually bring to life real experiences with real people that relate to real life situations. So if you're newly qualified, we know the barriers. Okay, you don't have enough experience. We want to help you and engage and connect you to people who have this. And then again, cultural barriers. Maybe women shouldn't be starting up a business. They're a bit more weak. And we have had events where we support women in business and encourage them, and we celebrate this because we want to bring that power out from them. All these barriers we understand, and we want to help you bring that to the forefront and help you overcome these barriers. So
I think, sorry to interrupt, Preeti, I was just going to say, I was going to concur with what you were saying, because if you look at the makeup of this particular panel, say for instance, I mean, I'm not part of the panel really. I'm just here to help and guide you through when the technology allows. But it's 4 people who happen to be female. There's a person representing ethnic minorities. There may be disabilities involved that we don't know about. All of these things are represented here, aren't they? This is an excellent example of what you're talking about.
Absolutely. And I think what also does make us unique as well, and Janine's obviously touched on this, is we are community focused. We are unique. We don't want to exclude anyone who is facing any type of barrier. So, you're not alone. You're not the first to have these barriers, and you're not going to be the last. Come in, join in, and just talk to us about it. Come to our networking events, because I'm sure that you'll meet someone who's had similar experiences, and sometimes just talking helps.
It does. You're absolutely right.
One thing, just Mark, to intervene there, one of the interesting things that I think comes out of this is a partnership we have with DWP. So through COVID, lots of people some people have lost jobs and might be in receipt of redundancy and be looking to follow a dream and to start a business. So we're working with the Department of Work and Pensions to build a partnership whereby we collaborate and we support those people on that business journey in that early stage as well.
Okay, good. Catherine, just before we go back to the questions, have you? I mean, I was going to say, what have you read that helped you through this process? I mean, for this morning, I think you've probably read something about probably along the lines of how to do a radio chat show, because you picked up brilliantly. So thank you for that again. But just briefly, Catherine, I mean, do you have any, I don't know, a favourite book, let's say, that's inspired you or led you into business?
I guess my favourite book that I've actually read in sort of like the last couple of years was Simon Sinek's Find Your Why. I think that's a really interesting it's a really interesting book, and it sends you into a process of trying to find out what you value most in your life, which I think is quite important, really, not just in your work life, but also with your home life as well. And I have noticed that a lot of business people also read that book as well, because it helps them to understand what their business is about, why their business exists, and its value to its customers. And so it helps them to communicate not just to the customers, but also to their employees as well. So I would say that one is one that I would have found quite influential in my life. I am reading a really interesting one at the moment, actually, which is Permission to Screw Up by Kristin Hadid. And I think this is quite an interesting book. It's more about dismissing the notion that you have to be perfect. And that leaders and organizations do not have to be perfect. There's a bit of a culture where people assume that they have to. You can make mistakes. That's perfectly acceptable. And in fact, it actually makes for stronger businesses.
Permission to screw up, you said.
Yeah, Permission to Screw Up is the book.
Quite personal, isn't it, for us today? Quite nice.
It happens, yeah.
Yes, it does. Okay, Catherine, we're going to go back to the questions now. Who's the next one from, and what's on their mind?
Okay, so we've got Thomas Haverman Mart, and he's asking if there's any help with export enquiries. So I'm thinking maybe Joe.
Thank you, Catherine. Could you just repeat that? Sorry, I got distracted by the chat.
He's asking about, is there any help with export enquiries?
Well, yeah, I mean, certainly you could come to us and you could have a look at databases, for example, and we could probably put you in contact with some individuals who are doing that themselves as well. So there are definitely link ups there across the partnership. And again, you know, it's one of those that we can refer through to one of our other partners who can give you that much more nuanced and expert guidance. We're very much that soft entry. We're there to sort of work out where the issues are for you and to put you on the right path. And then we would obviously make contact again after that. So as I said earlier, we're not going to leave you out there just floating and sort of off you go into the distance. We're going to find out how it's gone and whether you need additional support on top of that. Maybe it's come back and have another look at our databases and have a rummage around in those to support you in terms of looking at your potential export markets.
And it feels to me like we'd be making a referral into the Growth Hub at that point.
Absolutely,
as well.
yes.
They're the kind of local experts on that. But also we're really open to allowing our customers and our community and the businesses in our community to shape our programme. So if there were demand for that, there's no reason why we couldn't work with the Growth Hub to put on a webinar. So yeah, it's really about working with our partners, listening to you about what your needs are as a business.
Okay, that's a good question. Catherine, any, I believe we're actually being relatively inundated by questions this morning, which is just fantastic, isn't it? With more than 120 people on here and all representatives from BIPCs elsewhere, of course, the British Library too, plus dozens and dozens and dozens in Worcestershire, the fabulous county of. What are they telling us this morning? What do they want to know?
Okay, so we have Miguel de Souza, who's asking if we assist with brand names and logos as part of IP. So I can assist with this question. So we don't actually assist with people doing brand names and logos. However, we do give guidance about how you can protect. It is a very important part of your intellectual property, your brand name and logo. So we would be there to help guide you in understanding what you need to protect. We also, if you need to protect some intellectual property, which is, for example, you need legal advice, we can refer you to an IP lawyer to get some more kind of like detailed advice on that.
Yeah, I mean, intellectual property is something that lots of, I guess, knowing lots of small business people as I do, I've been a business correspondent for the BBC in the past and so on and so forth. I don't always get the impression that it's necessarily top of their list of priorities, is it? But actually, it's fundamentally important to the livelihood, isn't it? Is that a message that needs to be broadcast a little more widely, do you think?
Yeah, Joe, do you want to speak to that?
Thank you too
You're
much,
passionate
actually.
about it. I know
Yes,
you love it.
It is, Mark. I mean, and that is it is an area that I think small businesses, but pre-start, early start, just don't consider, and they don't think about it as part of their business plan. And actually, it should be a really key element of your business plan, not even just at startup stage, but ongoing as your business develops. And you can monetize your IP, and I think a lot of small businesses don't realize that there are income streams that you can derive. It can appear on your balance sheet. It has value, so it's a really important thing. So it's not only the protection element of it. There are ways that you can derive an income stream, but again, you're going to need specialist help to do that. And it's always going back to that specialist advice. We give guidance, we don't give advice. We give guidance because we're not trained to give that very specialist, in-depth legal view. We're not lawyers, but we work with people who know this stuff inside out and can give you very good advice in a very cost-effective way.
I was saying, if we look not terribly closely either, there are lots and lots of ideas out there that have been, let's say, purloined by people from others who didn't think to protect their intellectual property. But that's what you're there to prevent happening, certainly in terms of this group in Worcestershire anyway. So, Catherine, back to you. Who else has been speaking to us this morning, and what do they say?
Okay, we have a message from, I think, Jane in the chat. How will you measure the success of the BIPC going forward? Maybe this one's for Janine.
Yeah, that's fine. I can take that one. So as part of our agreement with the British Library and our partnership with Enterprising Worcestershire, we have KPIs and targets to meet. So we'll be looking to measure how many businesses we engage with, what types of businesses, whether we're reaching those people that we are really looking and hoping to reach, who can really benefit from the service. And then in addition to that, we are part of an evaluation programme under the British Library. So all of our interventions, if you like, engagements, activities, everyone is invited to submit feedback around that, about the impact that it's had on their business. Also annually, there is, I think it's annually, a survey from the BIPC, which supported a huge research project called Democratising Entrepreneurship, which is a mouthful, but it's also a really valuable document that outlines the impact of the BIPC. So we're absolutely using those measures which are tried and tested by the BIPC network, and partnering with the British Library to do that. Another advantage that we have through our relationship with through the Hive with the University of Worcester is that we are very close to the business school. So we have colleagues who we work very closely with in the chat today, and who are researchers. So we're looking at what additional work we can do to measure that impact, and how, when we work with businesses, what difference does it make? And we're really scoping out those projects right now and looking at what that's going to be like for the next year or two.
Thank you for that, Janine. Preeti, apologies if I missed you earlier, but I believe you've got something you want to say. I'm not sure whether it's this point or the previous one about intellectual property, but what is it you'd like to say?
Thank you, Mark. It was just something to add on to what Joe had said about intellectual property. Those businesses who are at the very early stages, and there's businesses out there, entrepreneurs out there, that don't understand what intellectual property is. They don't understand the value. They don't understand the term intellectual property. And this is something what the BIPC, we are here to handhold you with and help you understand that. So come along to our intellectual property webinars, where they will explain to you the difference between trademarks and copywriting and patenting, the process, the cost, everything that's included within intellectual property. This is something that, you know, will help you learn and understand the benefits of protecting your ideas. So it was just something to go off what Joe was saying, that it is important. It is something that new businesses and especially small businesses don't actually consider, but it's actually really important that they are engaged and learn and understand about it very earlier on in their business.
Yeah, it is important. It could make the difference between not making very much money and making an absolute fortune. And since it's their idea, they should be able to exploit it. Okay, so Catherine, back to you. Who else has contacted us this morning, and what are they saying?
Okay, there's been quite a few questions regarding accessibility, like can you access the facility, the BIPC in all Worcestershire libraries, or is it just from a few of the actual libraries, and do you need to make an appointment with an advisor, or can you just walk in to access the advisors freely? So I don't know if Preeti wants to answer that one.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Catherine. The BIPC service is very, very accessible. You can come along to any of our libraries. They will have great knowledge. Our main the Hive and the 5 other hubs as well. We've got champions who are the BIPC champions who can give you basic advice and support, and especially signpost you in the right direction. You've got myself and Catherine, so you can log on to our website, you can email us, get in contact with us, or just as simple as just popping into your local library where they will signpost you to one of myself or Catherine, to the BIPC team.
I think it's worth saying, Preeti, that the most knowledge is based in those hubs that we've mentioned. So that would be Evesham, Kidderminster, Malvern, Bromsgrove, and at Hive. Have I listed 6? Yes, I got them all out. So the smaller libraries, yeah, absolutely, the staff can signpost you in the right direction. But I would suggest that the easiest thing to do is really to book an appointment. Would be to go online and to book an appointment, or if you want to pop into your local library, they can again support you with being able to access the databases either at home or in your local library, and to help you book an appointment. So the depth of the knowledge lies absolutely with Catherine and Preeti, who are the advisors, but library staff will understand the service and be able to get you in the right direction.
Thanks, Janine. Now, this is a question that's come up a couple of times, actually. It's quite encouraging when you think about it. And the question is, these are from established business people. With their breadth of experience and skill and knowledge, would it be possible for them to come into a library and help out you guys with what you're doing? Is that the kind of thing you'd like to encourage, Janine?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Joe could probably talk comfortably about this, because it's, again, an area of interest for you, isn't it?
Yes, it is, very much. Yeah, we would really encourage people to come and talk to us if they want to get involved, if they fancy delivering a webinar for us, or coming to an event and delivering part of that when we're allowed in physical spaces. You can just ping us an email. Or you can, just get in contact, turn up at another webinar and have a chat to us at the end. I mean, we would really encourage that. It gives you, if you come to a webinar, it gives you a feel for how we run them and how we present them and the kinds of area that we're looking at. But yeah, we would really, part of what we want to do is to get really good coverage in terms of the topic areas that we're addressing, the tool set that business needs at this early stage. So if you're able to speak to that, if you're able to bring expertise and learning, then by all means come along. But we've also got, as we've mentioned, I think earlier, I think Preeti mentioned, and I've mentioned briefly as well, we've got our Pathfinder group, which is our it's not a networking group, it's a support group. So again, we're going to need people to come along to that and offer their insight and learning in that forum. So there's that opportunity as well. And that's very much, that's not a public forum, it's a closed group. So it can sort of, I suppose it can take a bit more of a deep dive into some of the issues that small businesses are facing and help support them, find solutions, make people feel that they're not alone. I think that, you know, Catherine's touched on this quite a bit, and it's a big topic for us actually, and a big topic of conversation amongst the team about how lonely a lot of business people feel when they set off on this journey. You know, they've remortgaged their property, they put all their savings into their business, you know, it's a high stakes thing. So it can be lonely, it can be frightening. So again, if you can speak to that, if you can come and talk about that, we'd love to hear from you. So yeah, by all means, please do contact us.
And just picking up on that point of loneliness, lots of particularly small business people I've met are lonely because they're busy. It's that simple, isn't it? They're trying to grow and establish and nurture their businesses, so they don't have a lot of time necessarily. So if they were to volunteer to help you out, Joe, as this is as you've described, a hop-on, hop-off service, it would be the same for them, wouldn't it? There would be no need to necessarily commit to a long process. They could just pop in and pop out in the same way that your clients do.
Yes, Mark, that's a really good point. It is. There's no ongoing commitment. You know, you don't have to come in and deliver one every month and we'll hold you to it and make you sign a contract in triplicate. We're not like that at all. It's about what you want to give when you want to give it. It's very much about that. And you know, it's that community ethos. It's contributing what you can when you can.
I think it's worth mentioning actually, Joe, that people also benefit from this. It's not just about giving back. So we had one of our providers, one of our speakers, who hadn't done it before. And so for him, it was about gaining the experience of doing that, about gaining a public audience. So there is a piece about giving back to the wider business community, but it's also about gaining skills along the way, again, from the team and from other businesses, and about getting a bit of a public face as well. So it's also a route to drumming up business and raising your profile for businesses as well.
Okay, thanks for that, Janine. Thanks, Joe. Back to you, Catherine. I believe we've got a few more questions left to get through if we've got the time. Who's up first? What do they want to say?
Okay, so we've got one from Tony Miller. I'm not quite sure about this one. It's quite interesting. Are you a replacement for Sustainability West Midlands?
No. I think that's fairly easy to answer.
Yeah.
We're not. So the BIPC network has been in operation for around 10 or 11 years, I think, Joe, isn't it? It started life in London at the British Library, and it's very much based in libraries. So it's quite a different strand of work linked to libraries. So no, we're not.
We like short and sweet answers.
Yeah, there we go. Get it out of the way.
It needs to be. I mean, I like your first answer to that, which was no. It's as good as it needed to be. Catherine, any more inquiries on the from the internet from our viewers this morning? Let's call them.
We've got one from Catherine. She's asking about, she's hoping to take over an existing business, a small gift shop. The couple are retiring and happy to pass on the shop, and they want to sell their existing stock. Is there any funding available that they would be entitled to in order to buy the remaining stock and pay for the first month's rent? So
I think that's probably a question for an advisor session, actually. I'm not sure we can answer it today.
No, it is quite a long one. I mean, we do have access to the Open for Business, which you can look at for grants and funding options. So we would go through that with you if you had an advisor session with us. So if you are interested in finding out the answer to that, just drop us a line and we can sort you out.
Way to plug a session, Catherine.
And I think one last question, and this is coming from a contributor. This is not from me, and it's not from any of our four panelists this morning, or the team behind the scenes or anything like this. This is a genuine question, and the person who asked it said, by the sounds of things, what's not to like about Worcestershire BIPC? I bet that wasn't one you were expecting, Janine.
Nothing. There's a short answer for you.
Brilliant. Okay, well, listen, thank you very much for taking part in that Q&A session. We'll some of our viewers will see you again in a few moments' time. But as you've seen, we've heard from the team, Pretty, Joe, Janine and Catherine, we've heard from the businesses and the partners. And I hope we've whetted your appetite as well for the free services being provided throughout the county, in the libraries, in our own communities. Now, in our final short film, we'll hear again from Carl Anson and Liz Jolly about just how important Worcestershire BIPC service is to the county's business landscape.
What I'm looking forward to in the future is supporting some of the roundtable activity where we can really meet face to face with local business owners and pass on our experiences, our knowledge, and share the learning that is really good at those types of face-to-face discussions. I think BIPC is a great idea, particularly for startup businesses, getting access to people who've been through the same experiences that you have, and just getting free advice from people who have experienced in the world of business. So I think it's a great idea. Give it a go.
I know how much effort has been put into setting up new local hubs under very difficult circumstances. So I want to end by saying thank you, congratulations, and wishing all success to Worcestershire Libraries as they begin their BIPC journey, and to the aspiring entrepreneurs and small business owners who they will serve.
It's been great to see all of you today. Please do check out our website. It's probably the best and first port of call that you should make. And you can email us directly at bipc@worcestershire.gov.uk. I think it's been popped in the chat a couple of times. So do feel free to email us that way or check out our range of services on the website. So we're now going to move on to some separate breakout rooms. You've been emailed separately a link to a breakout room with one of us. We thought it might be nice for you to have an opportunity to speak to us in a smaller, closer environment, should you wish to, where we could see each other and have a proper chat. So myself, Catherine, Preeti and Joe will all be in breakout rooms waiting for you, should you wish to join us. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have, or we'll just catch up with you and introduce yourselves if you'd like to do so. So once again, thank you everybody for joining us. We look forward to seeing you in one of our libraries of BIPC Worcestershire. Thank you.